Hello, I'm Dashawn Farad. Welcome to MXNetwork News. A North Carolina city hired a black town manager, and now their entire police force has resigned. Less than a week after the entire police department in Kinley, North Carolina announced their resignation, citing a toxic and hostile work environment, elected officials from the town of about 2,000 residents have gone silent on a plan for law enforcement moving forward. The July 20th mass resignation of the department's police chief, 4 full-time officers, and 2 town clerks, who are all white, came less than 2 months after the town hired a black town manager, leaving many critics to question whether race was at the core of the department's sudden collapse. Justine Jones, who has worked for 16 years in local governments across the country, was selected after a nationwide search of 30 candidates. She began the job on June 2nd. Police Chief Josh Gibson, in a resignation letter directed towards Jones, said he had been pleased with the progress his department had made in the past 3 years, but the, quote, hostile, end quote, work environment that she produced made it impossible for progress to continue. Gibson, a 21-year police veteran, has not expanded on the alleged details, citing legal concerns, but added he would consider returning to work only if Jones were fired.
This is a shock. You know, when a small town like this, and all of a sudden the people that you've known for all these years, and that says, I'm out of here.
In other resignation letters obtained by WRAL TV station, the 2 towns clerks and other officers cited, quote, toxic, hostile, and stressful work conditions. None of the department employees expanded on the alleged working conditions. Following the mass resignation, the town is left with 3 part-time officers to run the entire police department, which serves 2,000 people. An emergency town meeting was held on June 22nd to address public safety concerns due to the now understaffed department, according to the town attorney Chip Heward. A former Lexington, Mississippi police chief is out of a job after the Board of Aldermen voted to remove him on a narrow vote. At a special meeting Wednesday, the board voted 3-2 to oust embattled Chief Sam Dobbins, days after an expletive-laced racist recording said to be him was made public. The board almost immediately went into executive sessions where they were for more than an hour. Investigator Charles Henderson has been named the interim chief. Dobbins has yet to respond to media for comment. The roughly 16-minute recording was made by former Lexington officer Robert Lee Hooker. He said the recording is a conversation between him and Dobbins that happened back in April. A man on the recording, who Hooker says is Dobbins, used numerous expletives and multiple racial epithets and derogatory terms and bragged about shooting one suspect at least 119 times.
Shot and killed in the line of duty 13 different people. I shot that nigga 119 times. Okay? I mean, I saved 67 kids, and a vehicle was shot 319 times. But he was hit 119 times.
I just got to the point where you're not doing the people right, you're not doing me right, so therefore let me expose you for what you are, who you are. And that's how it happened.
Hooker resigned from the department just last week, citing a toxic work environment. Lexington Mayor Robin McCrory did not want to be interviewed, but said the leak audio led to Dobbins' termination. A bishop, well known for wearing flashy suits and jewelry, was robbed at gunpoint in the middle of a sermon Sunday in Brooklyn, New York, and it was caught on video. The service was being live streamed when, according to the bishop, 3 to 4 men walked in with guns. He says he believes he was targeted. 5 to 10 minutes into preaching Sunday morning at his church, known as the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead saw the door in the back of the room kick open. The church's live stream shows the gun being held on the pastor. What you don't see on camera, according to Bishop Miller Whitehead, are around 100 congregants who were in the room. Men, women, and children dropped to the floor in silence. According to police, the men took off in a white Mercedes. Whitehead said cops have a license plate, and witnesses saw the men change clothes inside. He believes his family was targeted because of the publicity he received when he helped turn in the wanted suspect in the fatal subway shooting of a 48-year-old man by the name of Daniel Enriquez in May. The NYPD is investigating, and Miller Whitehead said Mayor Eric Adams and top police brass have called him, pledging support to find the suspects. In a statement, a spokesperson for the mayor said, quote, No one in this city should be the victim of armed robbery, let alone our faith leaders and congregants worshiping in the house of God. The NYPD is investigating this crime and will work tirelessly to bring the criminals involved to justice. No one was hurt during the crime. Bishop Miller Whitehead, however, is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of these men. The pastor, who was well known in New York City for his flashy suits and rather expensive jewelry, made headlines in May when he said he was involved in trying to negotiate the surrender of a man accused of shooting and killing a Goldman Sachs employee on a New York City subway. Police ultimately arrested the man before he could voluntarily surrender. Miller Whitehead's verified Instagram account details his extravagant shows of wealth, including Louis Vuitton emblazoned suits, large jewelry, and flashy cars. In a video on Sunday night, he pushed back against the media headlines, referring to him as, quote, flashy. He also addressed the thieves on Instagram and asked them to turn themselves in. He told them that their actions had traumatized parishioners, including young children, who he said were still crying. His wife, Bishop Asia Dorsey Whitehead, said in her own video that she posted that a gun had been pointed in their 8-month-old daughter's face.
As a mother, as a wife, and just myself personally in general, it's one of the most traumatic experiences that I've ever been involved in. My priority was to secure my children, not only to secure them physically, but to secure my babies emotionally, to secure them mentally.
Police say the thieves made off with a treasure trove of items totaling $1,060 million. Mr. Miller Whitehead established Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in 2013. He is also known to be an ally of Mayor Adams, who has appeared publicly with him on occasion, and he describes himself having been, quote, adopted by Mr. Adams as a mentee. He appeared at more than a dozen high-profile events that Adams attended during his time as Brooklyn Borough President, and in 2016, the then Borough President introduced Miller Whitehead as his good friend and good brother. During that time, the bishop was boosted tremendously by Adams' support, which helped him promote and raise money for Leaders of Tomorrow Brooklyn, a for-profit firm launched in 2014 that was billed as a youth mentorship nonprofit. But the firm came under scrutiny when it claimed to have partnered with the Brooklyn DA's office, the NYPD, and the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, organizations that claimed at the time to have no ties to the clergymen's group. Miller Whitehead delved into politics briefly. Last year, he ran an unsuccessful campaign to succeed Mr. Adams as Brooklyn Borough President. I'm Dashawn Farad, and you're watching MX Network News.